Hello folks and welcome back to Medieval Total War. I am Conostep and this is going to be part 32 of my early campaign where I'm playing as the Danes. And we are getting towards the end of the campaign here and we're obviously doing pretty well. At this point we're just kind of playing around and having some fun here. So it looks like there will be a war with the Egyptians, whether it's me that starts the war or them. We will find out, but the Egyptians are doing very well. They have finished off the Poles, and they are now bordering me on 3 of my territories here in Saxony, Pomerania, and Prussia. All they have to do is take Volhynia, and then they will border me in Lithuania as well. And that is just on land. On sea, they are starting to get some boats in the water as well. Nothing that can really threaten my navy at this moment, but as we've seen before, they don't really care about winning on the sea. They will provoke a war if that's what they want to do. So as far as Western Europe is concerned, my oh my, just a lot has happened. The Almohads did collapse, essentially. And we do have the Burgundians are here, the Swiss are here, the German reemergence happened in the corpse of the Almohad territories. The papacy has some territories over here as well, as they're hanging on. The papacy has really impressed me so far in this campaign. Are they fighting the Germans? Is this happening? Or is this a mistake? I don't think the German reemergence, I think it just happened. So I think if the papacy moves their soldiers from this province in this turn, then they won't count as being at war with one another. Ooh, the Egyptians, oh yeah, that's right. The Egyptians have some soldiers here in the Papal States. But then the papacy has kind of returned the favor by taking Croatia. We will see if they can hold on to that. I think this is a brand new Egyptian sultan, and yes, that's right. Will there be anything left to the Egyptians by the time I want to fight them? Because 3 influence is not good. He's 16, so he just came of age. So his dad died on the same year that he just came of age. That's pretty miraculous timing. However, this jihad has not been able to conquer Moldavia this entire time, and now there's only 4 men left in this entire jihad. So when that fails officially, which might happen in this turn, Mr. Sultan here, Mr. Sultan Khalil II, is gonna, is it 3 crowns of influence? It might be 3 or 2. It's more than 1. So he's gonna be in some rough shape. I did look at the loyalty of some of his generals before I started recording, and some are okay. That's not good. Yeah, that's 0. that's bad. Some are okay and some are not, as you can see. Yeah, they might be headed towards a civil war. We will see. The Mongols are sort of finishing up their civil war. They've lost Volga, Bulgaria to the civil war faction, but other than that, they are hanging tight. The Turkish reemergence just has Pereslovel and Rhodes at this point, and that is it for them. So the Egyptian, empire is quite formidable. We will see. I'm guessing there's going to be a civil war, right? That's a pretty safe bet, I think. But yeah. And then down here in Iberia, I mean, the Italians are here, the papacy is here, and there's enough rebel provinces that used to belong to the Almohads, of course. It's probably a safe bet to expect a Almohad reemergence to appear also. So this has just been a really fun campaign map for, this campaign. It's been really interesting to see. It's funny, I've been playing a bit of Rome recently, obviously. That's kind of why my upload schedule has been so low for this game. And not to get too much into this, I'm going to try to save one of these rants for when I'm actually covering Rome on this channel, but just to give you guys kind of a sneak peek on my thoughts on Rome. Obviously wonderful in many ways, but one of the ways that it's not wonderful is that the map dies during the mid-game. When factions die, they're dead, which is kind of a sad thing to realize, because I'm used to, well, for example, in this game, a little bit in Shogun as well, there's a little bit of variety in Shogun to what can happen there. But in this game, my oh my, the things that happen, like the amount of reemergences and bribing settlements and crusades, and it's a very alive map. The way that factions can essentially change places and then die out and then come back and take over. And, there's really a lot of ebb and flow to the power dynamics of everything that's going on in this map. You know, you get these factions that didn't even exist during this entire campaign, like the Burgundians and the Swiss, and they just kind of come out of nowhere. And yeah, it's really interesting. It's kind of, you know, you can obviously bribe armies. It's sad in Rome. It's in Rome when you bribe an army and you're like, sweet, I got the army. And then it just disappears. And all you get is the general of the army. It's like, what? God damn it. It's just like everything just dies in Rome. It's just really interesting that, you know, obviously it's a very popular game and I can see why, but the map, man, it doesn't even take that long, really, before the map dies out. It's like early mid game to mid game where you're like, oh, it's just like Egypt and Roman factions, and that's it. that's all we have left. I don't have, you know, enough time in the game to say definitively who the power factions of that game are, but yeah, obviously Rome and Egypt are very powerful, and I think the Britons take over Europe, or, you know, essentially Western Europe or Northern Europe. But yeah, anyway, that's just a little short comparison. Campaign is a perfect example. It's just such an alive experience, you know. But anyway, yes, that's that. And I will talk more about that when I do cover Rome coming up in September. For now, though, in this game, playing as the Danes, my armies are getting to the point where I feel I'm close. I have my pikemen, I have my guns, and I did actually practice a battle before I started recording today because I'm just on it today. Like I had the time and I was like, let's actually remember to do this just in case I have to fight today, and then I won't be sloppy. Now that I've just bragged about it, if I lose this battle, it's going to be because I just jinxed it. And hey, you know, at least we know that it's just because I jinxed it, not because I sunk. So there's that. I covered my ass in both ways there. So if I fight though, my armies aren't quite. Some of these armies are still sort of in the high periods. They're kind of relying on the heavy infantry and the crossbows and the heavy cav, of course. That's fine. Those are very powerful armies. The armies that are going to rely on their pikes and their guns, they're getting there. I focused on Pomerania and Prussia first off, just because these were the provinces that initially were bordering the Egyptian territories. Now Saxony should get some guns as well. And I'm training my gun units here in Pomerania and Prussia. Okay, and then I'm getting pikes in a handful of provinces. I think Lithuania is one of them. Novgorod is another one. And then, is it Norway? Yes, Norway is getting pikes. Sweden is getting chivalric knights with gold-plated armor, silver weapons, although they're working on another weaponsmith here, metalsmith. And Denmark's just chilling right now. They're not training anything. I could train some more chivalric knights, but it's not really, you know, I feel like I have enough of those, honestly. Maybe not. I'm probably fine on chivalric knights. Yeah, Wessex, I shouldn't forget about Wessex. There's a lot of German troops here in Flanders, and these armies do feel like they're okay, though. I know I looked at my border armies before, or during the last episode, and they are starting to feel a bit heavy again. I did want to keep them light. I did want to keep the armies per province based on how many enemy provinces are bordering that province. So I should only have 3 stacks in Saxony, and I have like kind of almost 4. And yeah, Brandenburg should just have 2 stacks in there, so it's a bit heavy. Prussia should only have 2 stacks in there. Lithuania should have, what, 4 stacks, I think? 1, 2, 3, 4 provinces are bordering Lithuania. And then Novgorod should only have just the 2 stacks in there. So it is getting a bit heavy, but because this is sort of like the transfer period between my 2 different types of armies, I think I'm going to let that slide for now until I have the full armies that I want to use. The main thing that I'm missing, the main thing that I am behind on, is the artillery. I was thinking, so in that battle that I practiced before starting this recording today, I was trying to remember, like, how do I use my pike and shot armies? and I had an extra 2 spaces that nothing really felt right. I was thinking, should I have swords? Should I have crossbows or something like that? And nothing really felt right in those 2 additional spots. And then I thought, oh, what would be fun is to actually use artillery in my field battles. It's something that I haven't really done a lot of in this game. I've played around with them a little bit with the Organ Gun and the Serpentine, which are the 2 anti-personnel gun pieces that we have access to. But I've never actually designed army comps around using these things. And I played that battle today, and it felt good. I used the Serpentine. The Serpentine has the longer range. It's easier to use. I think that now the trick is, can I use it in offensive battles? And it depends on the terrain, obviously. But if you can kind of place it towards the forward edge of your deployment zone, I think that it does have enough range to reach the rest of the map. So if the enemy does kind of camp, it does work out okay. Now that's a little bit tricky though, because we have seen that sometimes the enemy will essentially spawn right outside of your deployment zone, as them being the defender, you be the attacker. So that can be a bit tricky. The Serpentine isn't really a weapon that you want to be using point blank. That would be something that you want to do with the Organ Gun. But the Organ Gun, the range is just, it's so short range that you shouldn't use it as an offensive piece at all. It can't work like that. But it can be fun to use as a defensive piece for sure. Yeah. Better on maps with choke points, but like, I think it's worth giving this puppy a try and seeing if I can make this work on just kind of open field defensive battles. Because if the enemy has to come towards me, I can have 2 of these pieces in between my blocks of pikes and guns, and the enemy is going to take a bite. The Organ Gun's going to hurt them. It's fun. I think I've used them maybe once or twice on this channel before, and so if you've been watching my other medieval campaigns, you may have seen what it can do. It can half a unit or even delete a unit in just one shot. It's really, really fun. But yeah, I think that's what I'm going to try to do. Is bring Serpentines in my offensive attacking armies and then Organ Guns in my defensive armies. Now, the problem is that currently I can only build either of those 2 guns in Finland. Finland is currently on the last turn of building this Karak, my top tier, 4th tier boats, and then I'm going to start working on the Serpentines, which do take 3 turns per gun piece. And then the Organ Guns only take 2 turns. Ooh, okay, good. I like that. Good. But as you can see, it's going to take time for me to get these out. And man, the year is 1380. We're starting to run out of time, so I do have my British provinces that are mostly working on, they're going to help out. They're basically going half and half here. Half of them are going to work on boats and the other half are going to be working on artillery. But I'm a ways behind. These are top tier weapons. I need a fortress, and then I need the top tier gun buildings, and then the top tier gunpowder siege buildings. Is that right? No, I just need the gunsmith's guild. So this is the 2nd tier. This is the 2nd tier, I think, gun building. I don't need the master gunsmith, the one that I built here. Yeah, I don't need that one. But still, I need a couple gun buildings, as well as having the master foundry, which is the gunpowder artillery building. So that's some top tier stuff. The fortress itself takes like 20 turns to build, so we have a ways to go. Wessex is going to be working on getting Carracks at some point because it does give +1 valor. No, sorry, not the Carracks, the cogs. Okay, so yeah, this building is going to allow me to build cogs because I get +1 valor for that. That's fine. And then Wales it already has the cannon foundry. So what do I need next? A gunsmith's workshop, I suppose? And then start working on the fortress. And then Mercia, what are they working on? A cannon foundry, so I think you want to do the same thing. I get the gunsmith's workshop before working on the fortress. In fact, I can just I can just queue it up. That's fine. And that's going to take 20 turns to build the fortresses after the Gunsmith's Guild, which is 6 turns. And then, yeah, 2 more buildings after that. So it's going to be a while. It's going to be into the 1400s when I can start having these provinces contribute to my military cause. So we're getting there, though. Scotland is going to do... Man, they were going to help out with boats, but I think boats are fine, honestly. Let's just get a Gunsmith's Guild and a fortress. Same deal. And then Ireland is working on the cannon foundry. So let's do the same thing. Gunsmith's Guild and fortress. I think that's fine. If I need to switch on over to focusing on Navy again, I can always do that. But I feel like my navies are pretty good. We will see. Getting +1 cogs, +1 valor cogs from Wessex will be nice. And yeah, getting those artillery pieces into my armies will also feel pretty gosh darn good. So I suppose I'm going to keep it. I really am thinking about like paring down my armies and getting them, you know, trimmed up so that I can potentially invite attacks from Egypt, essentially. Not saying that this wasn't all intentional, but it did work against the Almohads, you know. I had pared down defense forces. They attacked. The leader got stranded on an island and their entire empire collapsed. So, yeah, I feel like I kind of like that idea of keeping my border defenses a bit pared down. It seems to invite a more dynamic showing from the AI forces. It just so happens that the economy in this game is just so gosh darn strong. It really is. And if you play these campaigns, essentially like how I have been, which is just, you know, dumping all of your armies that you have at your disposal onto your borders, the board kind of dies a bit, you know. They really just, the AI leaves you alone. And a lot of times they leave themselves alone too, because they're kind of aiming for they're kind of gunning for the human player anyway. So if they can't get the human player's provinces, it's like they kind of stopped moving around. At least this is what happened in the Byzantine campaign. So I do like this idea of keeping my defenses a bit light, but for the time being, I think I do want to wait until I can get some artillery pieces out of Finland. Then I will invite attack by stripping down my defenses down to just 2 stacks in either of these 2 provinces, and 3 stacks in Saxony. And we will see, you know, the Egyptians might even attack before that happens. They do have a considerable force here in Poland. And, yeah, I don't know about Brandenburg, but this Polish force could attack either Prussia or Pomerania. So we will have to keep an eye on that. Other than that, though, I mean, yeah, we'll see if there's anything left to Egypt after this turn, because I'm betting on that civil war. I sure am. Okay, after spending some time and looking at my armies, I did decide to just go for it and reduce the amount of armies that I have in my border provinces here. Instead of using my serpentines, I did have a bunch of culverins sitting around. So if you have forgotten, the culverins are my most powerful cannon. Now, they are typically designed to be used against fortifications, but at this tier of weapon, I think that they will do just fine against people as well. So yes, we will be using them, and they have very long range. I think that their range is even longer than the serpentines, I believe. But yeah, if not, it's still very long. But yeah, so I'm going to be going with that here in Prussia. So Prussia, I have my pikes, my chivalric knights, 5 of them, so that 3 of them can be dismounted, because they will be my halberdier units, which are going to be very, very powerful. Basically like the heavy carriers of these armies. And then obviously guns. Yeah, some handguns. I'm deciding to go with them. I kind of like the idea of having a unit that's a little bit better in a melee. They also have better morale than arquebusiers, and they have their attack is a bit better as well. I thought their armor was better, but it's not. It's actually the exact same as an arquebusier unit. So, but still, you know, decent attack and good morale. Now, the arquebusier does have twice the distance on their shots, which is quite significant. These guys are very, very short ranged. And I might go back and forth. I might kind of try both of them out in my comps. I'm training arquebusiers in Prussia and then handgunners in Pomerania. So I'm getting both of them, but I'm trying out handgunners first. And let's see if Egypt attacks me. Now that I've sort of reduced my armies on my border provinces, let's see if we can get a battle. Now, I only had enough troops to make one stack of my, my pike and shot late game armies. And then my backup stack is going to be essentially my high period armies, which might be the army that I end up relying on to win me the battle if it comes down to that. If they attack me in their reign, for instance, I might just go, okay, let's go crossbows, axes, cavalry, let's go crush the Egyptians. But if they attack me in decent weather, we'll see. I might use my gunpowder and see how that goes. I can't remember if gunpowder artillery does work in their reign. I think it does, but I can't quite recall. Because I feel like I'm having like flashbacks of organ guns not working in the rain. But I feel like when you take artillery to a siege battle, you can always target the walls. Like, the rain won't stop you. You can get in that castle. Like, you would just auto lose the battle if rain stopped your gunpowder artillery from getting into the castle. So I think that's why they did that, where they're like, oh, okay, let's just let the gunpowder units work in the rain. I think that's the idea there. But yeah, I'm not 100% here, so that's going to be a bit of an experiment. Let's see, Pataxni, I had to go a little bit cheap and, well, not cheap. I only had one culverin left, so I did bring a demi culverin as well, which is still a very powerful weapon. It's just not as powerful as the culverin. And yeah, it sucks having only Finland to train these units or build these units, just because I want all of them. I want the good boats, the serpentines, the organ guns, the culverins. I want all of the fun toys. So I really do want these other provinces to catch up as soon as possible. So making 13,600 per turn, that has gone down a bit. I think I was making like 18 grand at the beginning of the last episode. But I've just been training so many expensive units that, it's the income is going down, but I'm sitting at almost 500,000. So I think I'm going to be doing A-okay. So with that all out of the way, I'm curious. Are the Egyptians going to be able to make a move now that I've sort of given them, I don't want to call it an opening, it's more like a trap, but yeah, we will see. Now the king kind of sucks. His influence is good, but the other stats are kind of awful. King Valdemar I, it's too bad. I don't think this is based off of the historical person himself, King Valdemar I. If he was, I would say, I don't know a lot about him, but he would have more than 0 command, I would say. And maybe his piety would be better. I can't remember if he had issues with the church. I think his dread might be a little bit better as well. I get him and then Valdemar II confused. I can't even remember. Is Valdemar II, is that the son or the grandson? I can't quite remember. And I think King Valdemar I is King Valdemar the Great, and then King Valdemar II is King Valdemar the Victorious, is it? I think King Valdemar the Victorious is the one that led the, was it Crusade? I can't remember, but it was attack on Estonia, which is not in this game, but it's right here, isn't it? Like, isn't this where Estonia was? Oh dear. I'll have to. I think it was like here, wasn't it? It's like right here. Yeah, right. Yeah, I think so. Don't take my word for it, obviously, but yeah, I don't think this is based on the historical man himself. And his heir currently is. These are his brothers, I believe, if I remember correctly. Prince Hardkanund and Prince Christopher are his heirs. That would make sense based on their age. So that means that we're waiting on Prince Harold to come of age. But man, Prince Harold has a lot of brothers on the way as well. And I've talked before how there is a cap at 6 heirs. So, yeah, if my current king could stop having sons, that would be good, actually. He's 37. Man, he's 37 and he already has 4 sons. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of sons. All right. I also have a lot of princesses as well. Yeah, there's 4 princesses hanging out. 31-year-old Princess Ulrika. I'm sorry. Sorry, daughter, but you are probably going to retire. She's probably fine with that. Being retired is probably a-okay. Just hang out the court. Hang out the gals. Alright, let's end this turn. And so what do we got? We got 73 turns left in this campaign. And if things remain peaceful, we can get through these turns pretty quickly. Did the rebels just attack the Egyptian territory down there in North Africa? Alright, papacy is going to retreat from Bohemia. And yeah, the rebels attacked. Man, the rebels are those little feisty bastards. It's funny that the Egyptians are retreating from that. Like, okay. And yeah, there's going to be war between the Germans and the papacy. Okay. Yeah, well. Yep, just like that, the Germans have been excommunicated. All right, all right. Oh dear, they just reemerged. And yes, the Egyptians do have their civil war. Oh man, this is a devastating civil war. Look at this. All of these territories have gone rebel. Greece, Bulgaria, Wallachia, Carpathia. And then this was rebel. This is the reason why the civil war happened. And where did the Sultan go? I didn't think he was too far away. But yeah, they're going to be facing some issues, some battles here. They're going to keep Franconia. They lost Brandenburg, so this was, one of their territories, somewhat threatening my inner core of territories. And yeah, that's okay. That's a lot. And then down here as well. Oh my goodness, Egypt, Sinai, Palestine, and Arabia. And then yeah, this is a big one. This is a big civil war. Holy smokes. And then yep, here as well. And they got attacked here in Tunisia. And this is just by like the remnants of the Almohad armies came in. Although chivalric sergeants, where did they come from? Were these like Christian rebellion troops? Huh. Not sure where these soldiers, these are Catholic soldiers. Looks like they came from a Catholic rebellion. This looks like, that's kind of confusing. Yeah, I'm not sure where these soldiers came. Is this just a natural rebellion that happened? This isn't the Civil War. Were they bribed soldiers? I don't know. Can't figure it out, but this is going to be really tough for them to get through, I think. So they're not going to fight me. I don't think, at least not right away. The Germans might. The Germans have a lot here in Flanders. They might attack Wessex. Can I find the German emperor? The reemergence emperors always start off with very low influence. Holy shit, never mind. Wow. Okay, I did not think that was going to be the case. I could have swore the reemergence leaders, don't they always seem like they have low influence? How long is this garrison in Friesland going to last? 2 turns? Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of German armies that are going to be free. And we will see. They might determine that the weakened Egyptians might be a better target to attack. They might decide to spend more of their time focusing on the papacy. The Egyptians ended up taking the papal states. Okay. Now, the Germans probably won't be too aggressive down here. Although, I mean, okay, never mind. That's papacy right there, so there could be a bit of a war in this region with the papacy, with the papal powers attacking the Germans here in Toulouse and Anjou. Perhaps, maybe, we will see. Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be aggressive towards me or not. It would be biting off more than they could chew if they want to attack me. Yes, in Wessex, I am keeping my forces light, but I will bloody them if they attack me. They might take the province, but I don't know. Their armies, these are a lot of Almohad troops here, which are kind of funny seeing Almohad soldiers in German colors. It's kind of a funny thing. But a lot of ranged units, some Wahid foot soldiers, which are good spearmen. But there's only 60 man per unit. Almohad urban militia, again, just really funny seeing them in German colors. That's just it's so silly, but it's awesome at the same time. Yeah, the Almohad urban militia are good swordsmen. And there are a handful of, if they bring all of their melee units from all 4 of these armies, they could have one good, attacking stack of Almohad urban militia, Muwahid foot soldiers. But then if I beat that first wave, then most of the reinforcements are going to be ranged units. And the loyalty looks okay as well. They don't seem to mind being excommunicated in the slightest. Yeah, they're pretty cool with it. Okay, that's going to be the potential attack province target. It's no longer the Egyptians anymore. They're not going to go after me. It might be the Germans though. So let's keep an eye on this. And in the meantime though, let's burn through some turns. Let's get these buildings going here in Great Britain so that I can get my artillery going. I want to get these serpentines and these organ guns going. So let's spend some time and work on that. And a few years into the Egyptian civil war, the Sultan has been killed in battle. That's interesting because he was, I thought, doing okay. He was taking back some territories, and last I checked on him, he was a 4-star general who had gotten his influence back up to a little bit, maybe around 3 or 4, I can't quite remember, but I thought he was doing well, and he has been killed. So that's also, I think, very lucky, I suppose, just because he was probably 20 when he died. So the fact that he must have had a younger brother who is also of age. We will check on him in a moment here. Let's see, Inquisition going on here in Corsica. That's a papal inquisitor. And the Holy Roman Emperor is offering an alliance. That's interesting. Do I want to take that alliance? I mean, I don't have any intention on attacking his territories. And there is some, realm of security against being attacked by him because he doesn't want to take that hit to his influence. But I don't know if I really want to take this alliance, simply just because I do intend on attacking someone at some point. I was planning on that being the Egyptians. If they do get back to being formidable and strong looking, I would like it to be them. But just in case my target switches to the Holy Roman Emperor later on in this campaign, let's not accept this offer. They are just fighting everyone right now. They're fighting the papacy, the Swiss. I think they're leaving the Burgundians alone, but yeah, they have quite a few fights on their hands. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. The Polish have reappeared. All right, it looks like they're just taking Volhynia. That was never fully secured by the Egyptians. So now that's going to be on my border. That's a lot of soldiers. Let's take a peek at what that is going to consist of. Just in a moment here, once I check out and make sure that this is applying to any starred generals, anyone that I need to look at here. Okay. Let's look at this. What do they have here? Some halberdiers, some feudal men-at-arms, some handgunners, bombards, mangonels, mounted crossbows. That's a good unit. Halberdiers, yeah, they're solid. They're good. Pavis arbalesters, yes. Okay, a lot of mounted sergeants, arquebusiers, handgunners, mounted crossbows. I'm not seeing a ton of heavy cav. A fair bit of mounted sergeants, a handful of feudal knights, a lot of mounted crossbows, a lot of them. And then, yeah, some gunpowder as well. Some halberdiers is going to make up their heavy infantry, essentially. And some artillery as well, so they can get into some fortifications if they want to. They have 2 bombards and 2 mangonels. A little bit of everything. So it's going to take 4 turns for this garrison to starve out. Now they can just attack it and make sure that they secure Volhynia for themselves. And then it's going to be very interesting. Ooh, they do have Moldavia as well. Okay. Very, very few forces here. This is the army that essentially held out against the Egyptian jihad for many, many turns. So, okay, interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if they turn their sights on me, or hint, hint, guys. It was the Egyptians that took you out, so they are totally an option. If they do set their sights on me, it will be a tough fight, but I'm ready for a fight. I'm itching for one. So. Bring it, guys. Bring it. My forces in Prussia are, yeah, they're fine. They're good. And Lithuania as well. I mostly have old-fashioned armies here in Lithuania for the time being, but I'm working on getting, yeah, I have like one late period army here. So that should be fine. Yeah. And I forgot to check out the new Egyptian Sultan. So he's 25. Interesting. So he must have been one of the uncles. Okay. He was not one of the sons. He must have been one of the uncles. He's looking okay, isn't he? 5 influence, 4 command. Or it was... Oh, he's probably the guy that led the Civil War, isn't he? Is that what happened? If it is, wouldn't the Civil War be over? Like, wouldn't they own Carpathia and Wallachia and Bulgaria? So maybe not. Yeah, maybe it wasn't him. It doesn't really tell you, does it? Like, the game doesn't really, for other factions, when they're going through their civil wars, it doesn't really, like, give you the inner workings of what's going on. You just have to, like, see it on the map and kind of figure it out. So, yeah, they still are missing a few territories down here that still need to be recovered. But I think they will get around to it. I think they are... I mean, their territories are so vast and so rich. Although this hurts. Losing these territories does hurt. Also, not having a trade economy really hurts them as well. I mean, Antioch is one of the richest provinces in the game. Tripoli as well is also very rich if they get their trade up and going. The amount of resources here is just really insane. You know, they could be making so much money off those provinces. Also, Constantinople. This is one of the richest provinces in the game if they were making trade income as well. Greece can do okay. Well, only a silk, but still. Yeah, really a missed opportunity. It's too bad. It's too bad the AI can't really figure out how to get trade networks going in this game. That would have been pretty cool to face off again. Because it just would have been so, like, they would have had this, you know, all the time. Just, you know, it would have been insane. I always feel like I want to talk about this building and point it out anytime that it comes up in one of my campaigns. The university, you know, it seems like a pretty cool building, right? If you have any experience playing Rome Total War, or even I knew about the academies in Rome Total War before I played it, the game, just because of watching YouTube campaigns, you get really excited. The academies in Rome, if you don't know, they give traits to your generals, which is pretty awesome. So going back to this game, when you get the university, you think it might be the same thing, right? Oh, university, you're going to get some cool traits for your generals, right? You kind of think maybe that's what they were aiming for, but instead it's a building that literally does nothing. It's just a prerequisite for other buildings. That's it. Now, to get a university, you have to first build a cathedral. And you can only build one of these buildings per, it all. Like, you can only have one of these. This is the building that I decided to get in Norway so that I can get the +3 morale for my Viking soldiers. And yes, the cathedral also allows you to train cardinals, and it gives you a static income of 52 florins, which is kind of weird. And it also gives a religious conversion rate, which is fine. It doesn't say it here, but I'm reading it off of the Wikipedia on my laptop. It also gives, this is weird, it gives 40% happiness or loyalty to the province, which by the time you can get a cathedral, you shouldn't be dealing with those issues anyway, but it gets weirder. Here's the thing. A cathedral is the building that is required so that you can get a university, right? What is this a prerequisite for? Well, you get 2 new buildings, which become available once you do get the fortress level. You can get the College of Surgeons and the Military Academy. Seems pretty cool, right? What do these buildings do? Now, the Military Academy actually does something kind of cool, and I will talk about it in a second, but the College of Surgeons, well, remember, to get the College of Surgeons, you do already need a cathedral, which is going to give that 40% happiness in addition to other benefits. So what does this do? It could do a bunch of cool things, but it just gives another 40% happiness to the province. That's it. It's kind of overkill, isn't it? Like, you just think, Jesus, I mean, if you're building a fortress in a province, you would think that you got it pretty much nailed down by now of what's going to happen. You know, you already have your garrison there. You already have your happiness. There's other happiness buildings. You can get happiness and loyalty through the watchtowers, the border forts, the town guard buildings do. The church buildings gives happiness. I think the tavern might even give happiness as well. There's a handful of buildings that give happiness, and it's typically not an issue once you get to a certain point of the campaign. You don't typically think, oh man, I really need that university to really clamp things down here. Even in troublesome provinces like Portugal or Livonia or Scotland, and I know there's 2 more, Pomerania and something else maybe, but even in those provinces, I feel like it's never that big of an issue, you know? It's a funny thing. It really is. It makes you think that they were thinking of Rome. It kind of makes you think that they were like working on it. And then they kind of thought, we can't, it's not working. We can't do it. We can't finish it. And there's a number of mechanics in this game that feel like that. There's quite a few things that feel like they weren't quite finished. I'm speaking of specifically right now, I'm thinking of the one where it gives you a decision to decide what you want to do with the rebels once you defeat rebels. And you can essentially, you can release them for a bit of, you can get like mercy traits, or you can kill them, and you can get dread traits, or you can just, is it execute the leaders or is it release the leaders? I can't remember, but that's kind of the neutral option. Well, mercy traits and dread traits just both give happiness. So it's almost, the differences are so small, you know, it just feels like another unfinished mechanic. So there's a few of those in this game. There really are. And it seems like in Rome, well, they had more time, obviously. They spent 4 years working on Rome, whereas they only spent 2 years working on Medieval. There was 2 different teams working on these games. And the teams working on Medieval, obviously, you can tell they ran out of time. You know, you can tell that they really needed to get this game out on time, right? Because there's things like this where you see it and you go, oh, this isn't done right. You know, it's just kind of a funny thing. But you know what? I'm going to build it anyway. I have the money for it. How much does it cost? 1,000? Yeah, that's a bargain. 1,000 florins for a building that does nothing. Absolute steal. I'll take it any day. Only 8 turns? Oh, please. Oh, yeah, all the time in the world. So let's get that university, and then I can get that College of Surgeons. But also, I forgot to mention that Military Academy. Now, that one's a cool one, because the Military Academy does allow you to get units with the Disciplined trait. And I can't remember if I've talked about the Disciplined trait in this campaign, but what it does is that it's essentially a level of, like, professionalism amongst your soldiers, where you have, well, the basic is nothing, and then there's disciplined, and then there's elite. Disciplined means that those units are not going to have morale, hits to their morale, if units that are not disciplined or elite are fleeing. And then elite is just a step up from that, where the only units that are going to give them a hit to their morale if they're fleeing are if they are also elite. So disciplined is a good one. It makes it so that, like, if you, well, for instance, if I'm training disciplined pikemen here in Norway that already have +3 to their morale through the cathedral, and I think they have an additional +1 to their morale through the church. I think they stack. I can't quite remember. Might be these two... I think these two stack. I think the +2 from the reliquary and then the +3 from the cathedral might stack. I always get that mixed up. I seriously, I feel like I give out the wrong information every single time I play this campaign, but you might be getting +5 morale for units that are trained here, but you're not getting this +1 or this +1 because the cathedral is an upgrade over the church, so this replaces this, and then the reliquary is an upgrade over the monastery. So I think you're just getting these two. But still, +5 morale plus disciplined on pikemen. It's not bad. It's not bad for pikemen. You know, that's a pretty sturdy front line. Okay, and now Prince Harold has come of age, so this should be my first son. And it looks like he is a 3-star general. That's good. Good. Gunsmith's workshop is finished here in Wales and Scotland and Mercia. Awesome. Lord, this is a governor, so Lord Bulverickson, magnificent builder. That's always good. King Valdemar I, great builder as well. Lord Haroldson, magnificent builder. Good. Prince Harold, what you got? +5 health, we will take it. Great warrior. And secret blackmailer. I don't like that. That means he's going to be losing some loyalty once this is discovered. So that one makes me a bit nervous. And let's look at the rest of his. Okay, if he loses 3 loyalty, he's going to be fine. Great. Prince Harold is great. I'm liking this. And you know, gosh, I keep looking at this. It might be related to the influence. I was pretty stubborn on that for a while, but I think after all of this time of looking at this and playing this game, I think that maybe influence does have an impact on the traits of the heirs as they come of age. Because this is not bad. 3 acumen, 3 command, 1 dread, great warrior, secret blackmailer. So let's find this man a wife. I think, have I just been like running with one emissary this entire campaign? That's kind of wild. Let's see. No German emissary spies in my provinces. Thank you very much. And let's find ourselves a princess. What do we got? What are our options? Italian princesses, German princesses. All right, let's get the filters like that, and let's see who we want to marry. Well, there's not much for options. There is an Italian princess here in Castile, and there's also an Italian princess here in Aquitaine, and then there is a Sicilian princess down here in Malta. Now, I don't think the Sicilians have ever said yes to me, and they've said no so many times that it's actually kind of hard to not take it personally. Like I'm like, there's no, it's in my bones now. I'm like, nope, they're never gonna say yes. The Sicilians are just gonna say no to me forever and ever and ever. So, let's go talk to this one since there's a port in her province, and let's see if we can't find ourselves an Italian bride for our new Prince Harold, because he is going to be the next in line. Yes, he is. So 16 years old, his dad is 43, so his dad still has a bit of time left. And luckily, there's no other sons have been born yet, other than the 3 brothers that Prince Harold already has. So let's hope it stays that way. Just because, again, I'm a little bit worried about that heir cap. So let's keep an eye on that. Oh, this is funny. So my cardinals that I've just kind of left here in these provinces, just because I didn't really have anything to do with them after the Almohads had fallen. Well, the Germans are excommunicated, so I actually did cause a Christian rebellion. Oh, yeah. That's cool. And here is Prince Harold's younger brother, Prince Sven, is now of age as well, and he is a 2-star general, so we will look at him in a moment. Shipbuilders Guild is finished in Wessex, so now I can start building cogs there. And I'm going to do that right away, just in case, Armorers Guild finished here in Pomerania, and Master Armor finished here in Novgorod, so my pikes here are going to be getting some very good armor upgrades. Reliquary finished in Denmark, so that's a morale boost. And then the followers of John Wycliffe, the Lollards, can only be considered as revolting heretics of the worst kind. They not only read the Bible for themselves and reject the church's hierarchy, but also question doctrine on the transubstantiation, clerical celibacy, and even propound their own ideas of free love and pacifism. Mercia is now a hotbed of heresy and disloyalty. And what do you know? I already do have an Inquisitor hanging out in Mercia. So we can take a peek at that. Let's see. The Duke of Burgundy, he's not at war with anyone. He's seeking an alliance. I don't see why not, but I also don't see why. Yeah, no. Oh, and the Italians don't want to let me marry their daughter. That's too bad. Sicily, what about you guys? Let's see. Great Warrior is Prince Sven, +5 health, and then Secret Perversion. So he will be losing piety once this is discovered. But for now, his secret is safe. Well, I am just not having any luck getting either the Italians or the Sicilians to say yes to me. So they're the only ones with princesses on the board right now, so I am just going to keep going back and forth and keep trying to get a wife for my son, just because that's the one thing about this game that kind of stresses me out, is, you know, not having kids that are ready to go once it's go time, you know. Once someone becomes king, it would be nice if there was a son on the way already. Or at the very least, it would be nice if there was already a wife, so that you don't have to spend that extra couple of turns looking for a wife. And yeah, so I'm going to keep an eye on this. The Poles and the Germans are other options. They can get princesses now that they exist again, so I will continue to keep an eye on that. And yeah, just keep my fingers crossed, I suppose, because there's nothing else I can do. The Egyptians might be looking to attack now. I know we're kind of like back, not quite at square one, you know. They don't have these territories yet here in the Balkans, but they, you know, they're working on it. Their Sultan Ali III is doing a good job of reclaiming lost territories, and they are getting some territories. I think maybe Tripoli was lost at some point. I can't remember. I think they are getting some territories back though, and they might again look to be a threat. They seem to be gathering here in Brandenburg, but that might just be because of my military presence in my provinces. So yeah, we could end up with a fight still. I mean, I will attack someone at some point, and it does feel good having this opportunity to get these armies that I want to use out onto the field. So I feel like I'm pretty much ready to go. At least my defenses are good. I want more artillery so that I can send them out on attack. You know, that would be nice. So yeah, so what, I mean, how long do I want to wait? Do I want to wait until I have more artillery pieces? You know, like maybe, I already have 2 serpentines. I think I have them here in this army. So I have 2 serpentines, and then I have 1 more serpentine here in Finland. I'm working on another one soon as well. And organ guns only take 2 turns, so I can crank those out. It would be fun to have organ guns in Prussia, Pomerania, and Saxony, just because I feel like, I have a feeling these are going to be the focal provinces that could be attacked. Although Poland could go and attack Lithuania, that's an option for them. So I think it would be fun to have organ guns in these 4 provinces. And then I can send my serpentines on the attack. And I'm still looking at Greece, or at least hopefully by the time I attack, Greece is owned by the Egyptians, because essentially what I would like to do is attack Greece and then just kind of wait for the counterattack. I don't really want to go just kind of stomping through Egyptian territories, but if I have to, I can take a detour through Constantinople and I can hit up the Anatolian provinces here. I want to stay where it's arid. I don't really want to march up into rainy territory. Is it arid. Yeah, this is arid in Serbia, but then this is arid as well. Okay, yeah, borders the Mediterranean. I think everything that borders the Mediterranean is arid. But then Bulgaria is lush. Yeah, lush grassland. So there's a good chance of getting rain there, I think. So I would rather kind of stay in these territories, but I want to get a big good fight. So hopefully by the time this happens, hopefully they're prepared for me. You know, I want to get a good fight here. Another option is to like hit up Iberia. It's all arid territory here, so this would be suitable climate for my gunpowder. But it's a lot of rebels that haven't really been, you know, finished off yet. So yeah, and I don't want to fight this. This is all guns and crossbows. Like, screw that. That does not look fun, really. I want to fight something with some teeth to it, like some chivalric men-at-arms like that, you know. I feel like the orcs and goblins in the Warhammer series, right? I'm just looking for a fight at this point. Like, I'm just looking for the best fight I can get. And I you know, for a moment there, I was thinking it's going to be the Egyptians. I hope it still is, because the German territories are all going to be in lush and temperate climates. So you don't know what kind of weather you're going to get. Probably rain, right? Probably rain is what you're going to get. So I don't really want to fight the Germans. If I have a choice, I'm going to go after someone else. But you know what? That is all going to have to wait until next time. As always, I hope you have enjoyed this one, and thank you very much for watching. This has been Concept playing Medieval Total War. Thank you very much, and goodbye.